Give it a little Whitney. Oh, I love doing these IG Live talks. They're going to be amazing. Let's see who the audience has for today. Hey, girl. Let's do a little wave. So I'm really excited. We're going to go ahead and jump on in with today's IG Live talk. So yesterday I had an amazing EP showrunner, CJ Faison, who has his production company, Face Forward Productions, who has also had brought his content out not only with the overall era of Issa and James Bland, and with their content, with James Bland specifically and him, with Giants, he was able to morph over into various different spaces with his production company, able to blossom into doing the Black Beauty Effect, which is now not only on Xfinity, which where it started first, but the distribution is now on Netflix. So last IG Live talk, we talked heavily about distribution, the history of it in regards to our community, and the future of it in regards to where our community is now at the forefront of not only independent clientele being able to do so, but just moving forward and how we can be able to pitch in not only just Hollywood, because Hollywood is just going through it, but in various other capitale and where various like sports, media, marketing, ads, commercials. So without further ado, I have my special guest that's coming in, Miss Ashley, who has an amazing company of her own as well, Visionary Women's Productions. And they too also bring heavily into the forefront our community in bringing aspects of us, for us, by us, created by us, all the things in commercials, ads, marketing, in various spaces. She has a beautiful story, and I cannot wait to dive into it. And we're just going to go into all the things. So without further ado, let's see if we can have her come in. And I'm giving a little Whitney today. Let's see if she's able to come in.
Hello.
Good morning, happy Sunday, and happy Black Herstory Month.
Yes,
Yes.
I love it. Happy
Happy
everything.
all the things. How are you doing this wonderful Sunday?
I am good. It's afternoon here in New York.
Okay, well, listen, East Coast, I know they're getting worse of this little winter weather.
I know you guys are like, it's raining. And we're over here like, what's happening? Well, we actually have a sunny day today, so it's actually not too bad in New York today. But yeah,
Well, thankfully.
I'm doing good.
Thankfully. Well, I am so blessed and honored to be able to have this wonderful, heavy entrepreneur, creative in this special world, Miss Ashley. We're going to go ahead and give us literally your backstory. Tell us where you're from and kind of give us what made you decide to be the storyteller that you are, and what made you navigate into your, like, what I would kind of say your first jobs. Because for me,
Yeah.
like, because I came into post-production, that's like my strong fold, but I first heavily got into executive assistant with, shout out to Pilgrim Studios. So where was like your first, and where did you start?
So let's see. My story is, as you know, it's like very massive.
Right.
So I guess yeah, you know what I'm saying? But I guess I started definitely, when I was a kid, to be honest, like I started acting, like when I was 6, 7 years old. I was a figure skater, ballet, like all the things.
Come on,
Yeah.
versatility. Yes.
That's why I'm like how I am now, and we'll talk about that if we have time, about the whole niche down thing, which I think is BS. But because I've never been that person, so I've always been the person that was always doing 5 things at once, and obviously I have to scale down. But professionally, in high school, I started modeling, so I guess that was my first intro to the entertainment kind of industry world. I was, during the times of like, America's Next Top Model being a thing, and you wanting,
that was a thing.
And I ended up making it. I ended up actually getting signed with Ford in Chicago, and
Congratulations.
and that ended up. Thank you. And that ended up being my first, round of like being a professional in the industry. And then fast forward to like my first actual, like being on set and everything was in college when I was interning at a talent agency called Lily's Talent Agency. She ended up being a great mentor of mine in the industry and taking me under her wing and teaching me everything, all the back end stuff with casting and how to cast, the right actors, how to sign the right people, what they're looking for at the time, what a good headshot looks like, all of the things. And I took that and took it back to my peers because we weren't being taught that. The business side, I went to art school and we weren't being taught like in our acting program, all of those things. And, here we are senior year of graduation and people are kind of like, oh, what am I going to do? And they're like, well, actually you have agents and stuff already, so I was the person people were coming to like, oh, what do we do? Da, 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 da. And that's actually how Visionary Woman production started.
Wow.
Yeah.
And so for you, when you had first started at that time, like you said, that era like was the, America's Next Top Model.
Yeah.
Even for me, when I was in production, like at that time was like American Idol. And, so You Think You Can Dance to even the crime shows and all the things. And so, now transitioning, now we're kind of shaking things up when we get into the social media era. Where are you at in this space at that time when, like, I would honestly say like MySpace was coming in, well, already Facebook was kicking up, Twitter was twiddling in, and all the things. So where was you creatively at that point?
Creatively at that point, like definitely with college. So I was working both ends, like I said, on the back end with production, but also I was, acting and modeling still and kind of starting my company. So I started my company senior year of college in 2011. And 2011. It's so funny too, because like I love Issa Rae and I just saw her post this morning and she's been in business 13 years and I also have been in business 13 years.
Wow.
I was like, because I want to work with her so bad.
I think honestly, Issa Rae is like a huge inspiration for like all of us. Because even then too, like we were talking about in the last IG Live talk with CJ and how like that whole era was literally like with Awkward Black Girl and like Giants and like all those things using social media and specifically YouTube, because that's what a lot of us was going to at that time, especially when I was in college. I didn't have networks, I didn't have TV, I had YouTube, and maybe a little bit of Netflix, and whatever Netflix had at that time was very low. And so it's just like being able to market that and create their own audience and fan base is definitely inspiration. I know it probably did for you as well.
Yeah, no, YouTube was huge for us. Like I said, when I started my company, we were doing like a bunch of like different creative projects. We were being able to help our peers like with our headshots and cover letter packages. So that's kind of how we started our business part. While we were doing, like that's honestly how the business started, was doing headshot sessions and cover letter and industry consultations for our peers before they graduated. And then while we were doing that, we were doing like editorial shoots and stuff, because I had so many amazing, talented women around me. And I was like, we just should get together and start creating stuff, and we really weren't expecting too much to come out of it. But then we ended up getting into Vogue, into Vibe magazine, and a whole bunch of other editorials and stuff that took notice of our work. And that's kind of like how things started happening on that end as a production company. And it was just awesome. It was just incredible just to be getting together to create for fun. And then it actually turned into something that people said, oh no, you guys are actually really, really good. Like, I mean, the girls I was working with were actually brilliant, like beautiful stylists, like fashion designer, makeup artists, photographers, like who are now celebrity photographers. It's just like I had so many great people in my arsenal that I had to work with them. So that's how everything really started. And then YouTube videos too. Like we were doing funny and like cool trailers. Like we did trailers for like Hunger Games for a role that I actually was being considered for. I was actually being considered for a role in Hunger Games for Catching Fire for Joanna was the
That's what's up.
role. And we ended up doing a fun like mock trailer for it, and then it got all these views, and it was wild. Like, so we started doing things like that, and people were taking notice back then, just via YouTube. So that was cool.
And so for you, what made what made that big moment for your specific company with Visionary Women? What
Mhm.
was that one project that like really kind of kicked the company off?
Yeah,
That really was like, oh, like gave that 360
yeah.
moment for you?
The Vogue moment, to be honest. We did a gorgeous spread, and I was always a creative director for all the shoots. I was coming up with all the ideas and just telling the girls, like, here's the mood board, here's the location, be
Yeah.
here, on this day.
Yeah.
And they would show up, or pick me up, and we would go on about our business because I had access to a lot of cool locations.
Hmm.
And we just shot and we did it. A gorgeous Vogue spread, which we didn't, I wasn't supposed to be a Vogue spread at first, but it ended up being featured by Vogue and Vogue Italia.
Hmm.
And it was at a stable that I worked at. I'm also a horse equestrian.
Mm.
Um, and
Yes.
yeah, I'm equestrian. I grew up riding. That was like very awesome therapy for me growing up, and kind of something that was a blessing from a coworker of my dad's who got me into it
Hmm.
at the time. And I ended up working for like a circus type theater back in
Wow.
Chicago. I have a very random story. Like I said, everyone who talks to me, they're like, Ashley, what in the world?
Exactly. That's what I think. Like literally, it's like every time we talk, it's just like, oh my god, like girl, like how did you get that like employment into that position? Needless to say,
Needless to say, it was a gorgeous theater. It was one of the last historic riding halls, actually, in the United States of America, where you would actually, it was like a whole theater. So it was like a theater, but like, you go to medieval times or something like that. So imagine that, but an indoor, gorgeous theater decked out with the seats and everything. And then you have the riding ring where we would do our shows, and we did Sleepy Hollow and the Nutcracker every year.
yeah.
And it was a big thing that people would come to see. But we shot there all the time. It was a beautiful location for me to be able to like be creative with the girls.
Yeah.
So we shot this gorgeous spread, and that was it was beautiful. Just the pictures were so awesome, and we shot it with the
Yes.
horses and everything. Yeah, and it was me, actually. I was modeling, and it was me with the horses and all of that, and it just ended up being so awesome. And then someone was like, oh, you guys should submit these, or tag Vogue or something. It was right when Instagram started becoming a thing,
Mm.
and we were like, okay, like, here, let's just like put it up and see what happens. And yeah, they instantly were like, hey, we love these photos. We're going to feature them. And we're like,
Wow.
what? Like, what do you mean feature them? So yeah, they ended up putting them like on the website. Like, it was like on the main page of the website for Vogue Italia. And also Vogue ended up putting it in the magazine. Just like a quick little blurb of like one photo, but it was still cool.
Right. Right.
But
It's still.
yeah,
It is an
I'll take it.
accomplishment.
Yeah. So that was the kickoff. That was me being like, wow, I think we really can do this. Like, I think, I have a knack for creating the creative development and just being able to lead shoots. And I guess that's when you can say my producer hat was on, even though I didn't really realize that back then until now,
Yeah.
that I was always a producer. So, yeah.
Wow. Wow, wow. And so, first of all, kudos to you because especially I feel like, for you, I think all that did you have to go to school for the accolades that you've done? Or was it just like you learned?
Mm. Honestly, so I went to Columbia College in Chicago. Shout out, because they were amazing. I got a great education. I double majored in technical theater and acting. Technical theater definitely did play a big role into just everything I am living out
Yeah.
now. Learning, how to build sets and how to run a lighting board and how to run sound and all of those things, how to make costumes, because we had to literally learn how to do all of those things before graduation, makeup, stage design, everything. So that was an intensive program that definitely was a huge advantage to me graduating from college, even though I didn't use those skills really until a couple years later,
Okay.
because like I was at the agency, so the agency actually ended up offering me a freelance position as a junior agent before graduation. So I was actually like on the casting side, on the agency side, right off the bat, like helping my peers get signed, all
Yeah.
these things,
And getting the
right off the bat.
hands-on experience.
Exactly. So I wasn't really paying attention too much to those other things besides like creating for fun with Visionary Woman for the different shoots we were doing. But that being said, I got a great school education, but I definitely feel like if it weren't for like my real hands-on experience of working at the agency, being on set as an extra, getting to learn what all the technical terms and stuff were, connecting with the ADs, like volunteering my time if they needed someone to stand in and things like that. I don't think that I would be here, like I feel like more of the opportunities I received were because I was on those sets. I was connecting with those people and they ended up being able to grant me opportunities further down the line.
And that's a huge thing. And, what would you honestly say, like, because even for me too, I think the biggest thing that I always have mantra wise is mentorship. And so
Yeah.
for you, like, how do you feel in regards to the importance of mentorship in the field that you're in?
I think it's definitely important. I mean, if it weren't for the few mentors that I had in my life, I really wouldn't be where I am, to be honest.
Yeah.
Like I said, Lily was a great mentor to me. She taught me everything that I know of how to be a woman in the business, to be a business owner, and to know, what I want and to, connect with people. And like I said, even when I started off as an extra, another mentor of mine ended up becoming a casting director who gave me my first casting job on Shameless for season 6 and
Okay.
season 7.
Wow.
Yeah. And yeah, and it's so funny because I started off as an extra on that set,
Yeah.
on Shameless season 1 when they first started filming, which was in Chicago originally. That was the first season. I worked on it in college. This guy, I, built a foundation with him. He like remembered me years later. Like this was years later. I was well out of college. Like
Yeah.
years later, this man hit me up on Facebook and was like, "Hey, I seem to remember you were always amazing, to work with on set. You never caused drama and all that stuff." So he's like, I'm looking for an assistant to cast and stuff for this season. It was, like I said, it was season 6 and 7 at this point, years later. And he was like, "Are you doing anything? Do you want to come on board?" And I was like, "I'm not doing it." I happened to be doing nothing at that time. I was like, "I need a job." So I was like,
Right.
"I would love to." So that's how I got into casting. Like, that's literally, like, he taught me everything that I know. His name was John Kinnis, and he literally taught me everything that I know about where I am now in my business,
Mm.
literally. So yeah, between him and Lily and a couple other people, I have been able to create the business that I have now.
Wow. That is, listen, girl, you are amazing. And even with, all the stuff and success and all the things, sometimes we don't see like behind the curtain and all of the things. So I
Yeah.
think the biggest thing, especially for us in QOP, is about mental health.
Yes.
And so for you, tell us about your importance for mental health, your
Mhm.
background, your story, and how does Visionary Women Productions really use that mantra in their work?
Yeah. Yeah, long story short, giving you guys a Cliff Notes version. I'm a CSA survivor. If you don't know what that specifically stands for, it means child sexual assault survivor. And I am a suicide attempt survivor as well. And mental health definitely has always been a big thing in my life specifically. Just unpacking a lot over these 34 years of life. We could get into all that probably in a next talk of generational trauma and all of the things that played factors into things coming to a head in that way for me to have to, seek help for myself and to have the courage to step outside of my family and do what's best for me. So mental health is definitely a big, big thing that I take very seriously and take in that first and foremost. Like even with work and different situations, mental health has to come first. Even at Visionary Woman, the people who I work with now, it's like we all have dealt with so many traumatic situations or very annoying situations in the industry, where we're like, we're tired. We don't want to have to keep dealing with all of these people that we don't want to work with who are not trying to pay, or they're trying to cause drama for no reason, or they're just trying to make things feel just not fun because we feel like we should be having fun, doing what we love. And that's why I fight so hard at Visionary Women to do what we do, because I want to create that space. Like I want to be known as that person where you walk on my sets, you feel at ease. You're like, oh, this is good. I'm good here. I'm safe here. They got good vibes. They got good food. Everyone knows what they're doing, and it's just creating that culture where it's like we're here to do beautiful things and together. And, these talented beings that were chosen to be on this set, are all going to make it happen. And they're going to do it by, being respectful and taking care of one another, making sure that everyone's working as a team, which is not always the case, in the industry. So I think every day is like a big thing for me, is like mental health first, spiritual health first. And even with my team, like us being able to have those moments where we are real with one another and we're making sure everyone's good and we have like bonding, team bonding and everything, and really making sure like we're in each other's circles as much as possible in a positive way. But yeah, my journey's been a lot for sure. And like I said, I've also dealt with a lot in the industry from a young age. So it's been a lot of unpacking, a lot of things where, I now am wanting to advocate more and more, especially for children, to be safe, and for parents to be educated to make sure they are keeping their children safe, especially within the entertainment world. And just making sure, contracts are right, and, just like they know where their kids are, on set and stuff. And just being that advocate and that voice too for diversity and for change. Visionary Woman is huge on that. We really are huge on that. We, even with people we want to work with, our clients, like we heavily vet, because we want to work with people who, put their money where their mouth is, and who actually, like are actually being about it. And we really go through it, like, because we have, people that look good on the outside, and we're like, oh yeah, their Instagram page and stuff, but it's like if you don't
on the
have,
inside.
yeah, it's like if you don't have a good couple different Black people on the feed at the top, for me, I'm kind of like, like if I have to go through and be like, oh, there's one,
Then
like,
it's a problem.
like for a brand who I may think, oh, maybe we could help them. I'm like, no, I'm just like, yeah, the diversity has to be there for me right off the bat.
And let's
Unless
even
you're like,
dive more
hey,
into diversity. So,
yeah,
that's been, I think, like the Sesame Street word going on around is
mm-hmm.
diversity, equity, and inclusion. And so, for you, how do you feel about that word? I know for us specifically in film and TV, it's kind of been shaken up a little bit. A lot of rules have been taken. A lot of,
Yes.
overall deals that were given to specifically people of color have been taken. So,
Mm-hmm.
how do feel in your space? Do you feel like the DEI world has been shaking up your world? And how do you feel for Visionary Women Productions and for your content? how do you feel like that is like not because I feel like it's a stereotype. I feel like it's kind of like if you have DEI, it's like a token. You
Yeah.
know, like it's like you
Yeah.
have we got the people because we got
Yeah.
DEI. Like no, it shouldn't be just DEI. You should just give it to the people. Period.
Right. Yeah.
So do you agree with that, and do you feel like that's your kind of vision for your production company?
Yeah, no, it's been interesting. Obviously, I think we've seen how, a lot of those programs are being cut. So, it's just kind of like, okay. I don't know. I just have a lot of qualms with a lot of these corporations because, they're just pulling out this crap, that just proves that they don't actually truly care about making the world a better place and making it inclusive and comfortable for all to be in. Unfortunately, I think we also realized that during the strikes, hearing all these crazy conglomerates remarks about why people should just be paid a living wage to be able to have, pay their rent and their bills
Right.
while they're sitting over here with 20 houses around the globe and all of this money that they don't even know what to do with, obviously not doing good things with it, while the rest
Exactly.
of us are kind of suffering. So I have like a whole dissertation that I could speak on about all of that. But in regards to my company, that is what we are about. Like I said, we are very we're diverse. We're a diverse, beautiful group of women. It's a women first company, but we definitely have some wonderful men and allies that are also on our creative roster.
Yeah.
And like I said, I heavily vet people, like I need to know that you're about it and that you really are about the true vision of Visionary Women. I mean, we're more than a production company, as you know. Like we really are blending production and advocacy, and we are looking to really, honestly, make a mark on this world in regards to creating projects that are always going to be strategically placed and partnered with major brands, major organizations to continue major conversations to help save lives,
Right.
specifically with suicide rates, specifically with people who are survivors of trauma such as CSA. So that is the foundation and heart of who we are and what we're trying to do. Creating things that are going to be able to also inspire communities such as ours to learn that the power of storytelling and strategic partnerships can go a long way and create a lucrative outlet for the community to grow and to break out of the poverty mindset and to break out of the mindset of not knowing how to get capital, not knowing how to connect with the right people that actually would care to help you grow. So that's what we're trying to do. There's so many big plans for the future of being able to educate and go into communities and teach them the power of creating business the right way and how the connections can be not in the industry. I have so many connections I'm working with right now who are doctors and, lawyers and other people. And it's like, you just have to learn how to connect. And I want to teach people how to do that, who are specifically storytellers and people who are in the industry and trying to make this thing happen for a bigger purpose. So that's what
Bigger
we're about.
purpose. You know what?
Mm-hmm.
That's like a huge takeaway from this because just this morning, like I was watching, what is it? The Greatest Night of Pop. And they were talking
Mm-hmm.
about like the We Are the World's like song that made it so iconic.
Yeah,
And it was a bunch of chaos and everything, but you get to see moments where they were like community and
yeah,
together and collabing and connecting. And I feel
yeah,
like you don't get that anymore. Like, hell, we don't even have another We Are the World like song or anything like that
yeah,
in this generation, child. But needless to say. But in regard but in regards to, even the bigger scale and the bigger picture of, understanding us, I really think
yes,
that like we've really taken away the fun of creativity. Like
yeah,
we are supposed to have fun being creative. Like where did all the
yes,
politics and like the, protocols and where did all these technicalities come into just having fun?
yeah,
And I think, we were also talking about it also in the IG Live talk with CJ about going back to the basics. So I'm also going to
yeah,
bring this conversation topic for you. Have you felt like, since with the strikes and everything and culture dynamics kind of going through its turmoil, everyone has now kind of gone to go back to the basics. Have
Mhm.
you had to go back to the basics, especially with your camp? And what have been some of the skill sets that you had to go into the tool belt to go through in some cases for some projects?
Um, that's an interesting question. I think for us specifically, so going back to the basics, I feel like I've always been that person, to be honest, who is more than fine of being basic, if that means it's still going to look really amazing.
Hello.
Like, I don't think we have to have, yeah, like, I don't think we have to have 50 people on set for certain projects, you know? Like, we don't have to have,
Agreed.
like,
And you know all
yeah.
they're doing is just getting the crafty in the back and
Yes.
just taking the union money. That is all they're doing.
Yes,
Point blank
exactly.
period.
Yes, like, absolutely. Like we definitely could, be smarter. I think about like where we're spending money and how we're spending it. Like I said, especially because we, like 10% of our funding goes to our nonprofit partners or are the people that we're working with to help, in regards to CSA and mental health. So it's like, we're really having to think about like where the money is going and where we're expending our energy. Like I'm still shooting stuff right now. Like we just shot a skincare thing last week, and like I was the lead photographer director on it. I had a camera in my hand, I'm directing. My other colleague was also shooting, so I was kind of like letting her do her thing. And it was just like, yeah, it was her and I, and the makeup artist and hair and the model, and yeah, my assistant. And that was it, and it was great. The shoot turned out beautifully, and it was wonderful. It was basic, it was smooth, and everything looked awesome, So I think I'm always a fan of having basic, having, like I said, chill, very vibey sets where everyone feels comfortable to just create and jump in. Her and I were just jumping in where we saw like the good stuff, and we were like tag teaming, and it was great. It was wonderful. There was no pressure, no whatever. It was just wonderful and smooth, and we were all just like chilling and having fun. And it was wonderful, not that like being on those sets too with like Delta Airlines, for instance, which is a past client, or Dove, like is not fun with the, bigger things happening. But even then it was like those sets have been very smooth because the people have been, really awesome and kind, and, we're all there to do what we have to do. But I think it's always important to understand when you can be basic, when it's okay, and to just go back to that foundation, and to not really lose it. I think it's always helpful to have that.
And I'll even go even deeper, going even back to when we talk about mental health. Going
Mm-hmm.
back to the basics does mean sacrifice, does mean,
Yes.
kind of changing your mindset.
Mm-hmm.
Have you also had that experience too with that? And what are some tips for people that get into that mode of like, their comfort zone
Mm-hmm.
is what I would probably say for this.
Yeah. Yeah, I think it's always great to be aware, self-aware of your limitations, self-aware of where you are currently with your company or what you're trying to do. I think sometimes we get really stressed out and get overwhelmed, spiritually and mentally because we're trying to do all of the things because we're creatives, right? So
Right.
we're always like thinking about 5 different things probably at once. I'm probably creating a project in my head every second of the day, that I have to be like, Ashley, that can't all happen today or even next week or maybe even this year. And that's
Right.
okay.
It's okay.
Write it down or put it on, record it on your phone, the idea, and then you'll come back to it when, it's time.
Mm-hmm.
But I think it's always great to like have realistic expectations set for yourself, so then you can actually create things and get things done in a timely manner so you can keep moving forward with that progression. It's so funny too, like on Friday my VP and I were kind of having a meeting, and she was like, okay, I feel like you're getting a little overwhelmed and all these things, you feel like you're being stretched thin, so how can we go, like, let's go through this, let's go through all the immediate needs and things we need to do right now for the next month. And she like really broke it down, and she's like, okay, who can be on this, but not you? Like,
Anything but you. So you and you can
literally.
take a break.
Yeah. She was literally like, but not you. Like, we need to make sure you're not trying to like oversee everything, you know? And I was like, okay, okay. So we broke it down, and I was so thankful for her because honestly, like right away, I was like, okay, I feel better.
Right.
I feel like
Because
I
then you're
can,
just like, oh, I
breathe.
can do other things besides this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So like getting to those
Yes.
basics, you know, of breaking things down, compartmentalizing your time a little bit more, and where you can have to be and where you really don't need to be,
Mhm.
you know, that's important too. So that's a tip, I think, is like really compartmentalizing things of the wants, the need,
Mm.
and figuring out how you can balance that for a better and more
I'll even
effective work life. Work in,
agree.
yeah,
And I'll even give it even more.
yeah,
Writing out your to-do
yeah,
list. Like I even had to go back down to that. Like this year I literally have been like, okay, let me start putting checklists of everything that I have to do. And listen, it has been a game changer. Even down to
yes,
like I'm like I have started to go back down to Barnes and Nobles and start to
yeah,
read and get away
yeah,
from the screens if as much as possible and
yeah,
like sit down and read a book and
yes,
get the research that I need. Like I have one for mental health, I have one for my financial
yeah,
literacy, and then I have one for a fund mental health because I love mental
yeah,
health, so it's my thing. But
yes,
one for mental health. But going back to those basics because I think even when talking again overall with QOP and I think with your production company and just overall the conversations is understanding the business of entertainment and the
yeah,
business of the industry. And a lot of us, especially for people of color, we don't understand the logistics.
yeah,
We understand the glitz and
yeah,
glamour, but we don't understand the logistics. And so,
yeah,
as we kind of wrap up into our last couple questions, for you, where do you see the narrative kind of shifting for the industry, especially for you, for photography? Think more and more people are starting to like get into the industry and get into the fold. Where do you see
hmm,
the narrative shifting more? Like, is it more of content creator forefront? Is it going into, more of like giving behind the scenes a story? Because I'm starting to see too, like a lot of y'all are coming to the forefront and doing interviews and stuff like that. And remember back then in Jet Magazine and Ebony, we only knew one or two people that would
yeah,
maybe give you an interview or two, or maybe to take a
yeah,
picture or two. Now I think I just saw Kiki Palmer just had her whole picture photo shoot with her and her Key TV, network
yeah,
have a photo shoot. And I think that's even a game changer because it's now recognizing, and I'm even seeing like, Stephanie Flo, who's the editor for, Black Lady Sketch Show. I think more people behind the scenes are starting to get the forefront of accolades. Do you think that that's
yeah.
going to be the narration in the future for us in the community as well?
Um, I think it's so interesting. Like it's an interesting time right now, especially like with the age of creators and
Mm-hmm.
filmmakers.
Yeah.
I I think it's just man, this is such an expansive topic because I think I've been like really dwelling on this a lot because I am, I guess, a creator for brands
Yeah.
sometimes. When they'll, send me stuff and say, hey, we'll pay, like I don't do free gifted things, but I'll
Yes.
get the product and they'll pay me, you know?
Mm-hmm.
So like the Dove partnership, for instance. So it's like, it's been beneficial and interesting to kind of dip my toes in that avenue. But I'm first and foremost a filmmaker and storyteller, and I hope we don't ever lose
Yeah.
that. I hope the narration still stays like we have creators and they have a place, but we also have our filmmakers and actual true storytellers who have been doing this a very long time, and a lot of blood, sweat, and tears have gone into really creating things that hopefully will
Yeah.
last
Yeah.
in the theaters, and be able to draw people together as a community. So I hope we don't lose that either, but I think both things have their place, especially as we're all trying to navigate the creator influencer world with filmmaking kind of and
Mm-hmm.
all of that. So hopefully it'll be something that, like I said, we can all coexist together for the future, where it's not, people don't feel like they're getting their toes stepped on.
Yeah.
That being said, just in regards to like the future just of like filmmaking and things that are happening, um I really, I hope to see more independent people rising. Like I said, I would love to be able for us to partner with like Issa Rae's company one day on
Yeah.
something. It would be great because I know she's been kind of talking about maybe I'll go independent now
Listen,
because,
come
she's
on,
saying,
baby. Come on
right.
home. Come here.
Yeah.
We ready for you, baby. Hollywood don't like you. Come here.
Yes. They do not
Yes,
like it.
honey.
I love it. But yeah, but it's like it would be so cool to be able to have us finally rising in our own right, doing our own things, having our own networks. Like my cousin started his own streaming network, for instance, that's like you can put it on Roku and all that stuff. And we were talking, and I was like, you know what? Like, we should partner up, and like I'll come, we'll do awesome content, we'll make it look really good. I'm like, I want to be the next Netflix, but for for
Right, yeah.
diversity. And it's like, why can't we do that? Why can't we have that and be successful at it? So I think I am hoping to see more and more Black and Brown people specifically being able to rise up and partner together to make these platforms come alive and stay alive.
Yeah.
That's what I really, really hope for in the future. We already have our first little Emmy nomination, so I'm hoping it's the first of many. Thank you,
Yes,
thank you,
congratulations.
thank you.
Tell us about that. Tell us about that and tell us that moment when you got the call and got that, like, oh my God, like Emmy nomination. That is up there for you. Tell us
Thank
about
you.
that.
Thank you. Yeah, so it was for the Dove Cost of Beauty campaign, which you all can see on our website at visionarywomanproductions.com. And Meg was she was the lead casting for it too, a casting developer on it actually. It was a
Okay.
big, long project where they had to find different girls who dealt with body image issues. And it was kind of like an archival project where we found one specific gal who, from about like a toddler to now, we saw kind of her whole life documented by her mom of her being obsessed with like body image and stuff and the crazy things that were being fed to her through social media, with waist trainers and thigh gaps and all of these things that she was, thinking that she needed to look like that. So it was a beautiful, powerful project that was also in collaboration with Congress. So I was actually called in as a spokesperson for the project for Dove as a mental health spokesperson because of my story.
Wow.
And they utilized me to help create a more awareness for the 2023 Kids Online Safety Act, which went to Congress for the bill that we were presenting to be passed. And it just, yeah, together, it was just a phenomenal project, something that I always want to keep doing with Visionary Woman. Like I said, we're trying to do things with a bigger purpose. Like, we're not just trying to create film and TV just for the hell of it. Like, we're trying to always have something, a partnership, honestly, a strategic partnership behind it that's going to help in so many more ways and actually, like, hopefully shift our government and, like, actually, like, have better rights for people and things like that. So that's where our heart and mind is. And that's what happened with that project. And it was, nominated for Best Commercial in 2023. And Apple ended up winning, but it's fine.
Listen, it's okay because the nomination it still counts, okay? And
Yeah. Yeah.
congratulations to you. And so, for the last question that we have and the audience, you can throw in some questions too as well for us for
Hi,
our special guest.
everyone. I see some people I know who popped on.
Oh,
Hi, everyone.
yes, support. And so, for you, for the last question, what was the aside from definitely the Emmy nomination, of course, and I know that there's been many of projects that you've done throughout your life. What would probably say has been your favorite one that you've done?
My favorite one. Hello, hello. I was just saying hi people.
Hey.
Hi. My favorite project. Oh my gosh, favorite project so far. I honestly think so. I did a content series. I produced a 10 episode content series for Delta Airlines this past year for their Delta Care Fund, which in short is a fund where employees can get assistance financially if something, unfortunate happens in their lives, like their house burns down or they lose a spouse, unexpectedly, or they fall ill.
Okay.
Delta will have a huge, beautiful fund where they can literally get a grant to help, with expenses and stuff. It's such a great initiative. And at first it was just, they were like, they came to us with the idea
Mhm.
and they really needed people to hear about it because a lot of the employees really didn't know that it was a thing.
Yeah.
And so it was our job to create something that could raise that awareness and get them to their goal. I think now they have a $30 million goal, which they are trying to reach by 2025.
Okay.
Originally it was just a $500,000 goal, and now we're at 9 million.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay,
So yeah,
congratulations.
thank you. So absolutely incredible. I mean, the stories of all these people, like we were like crying on set. Like
Yeah.
it was like a cathartic, beautiful thing, and really made me, just happy and thankful for what I get to do. Like I said, I'm always about the bigger purpose of things, and like I really want Visionary Woman to be known of like we create projects with purpose. We create, like, even if it's a feature film, it's a narrative thing. Like, we're going to partner with people on the subject matter for that film because we want to have talkbacks. We want to have community engagement. We want to be able to have it be something that can help, other people. So that is where we're at. And that project was life-changing, I think, for me. Just hearing everyone's stories and seeing how beautiful their hearts are. Um, Still, after dealing with so many crazy situations, it just was awesome. It was magical. It was a magical set to be
Yeah.
on. Definitely.
Oh
Yeah.
wow. Wow. Oh my gosh. You have listen and to even take it back even more, what is mainly your focus? Because you mainly I know that you don't really do heavily TV and film. What are some of the
Mhm.
like content that Visionary Woman that does most of the time?
Yeah.
Or mainly most of
Yeah,
the
so actually, yeah, so film is actually huge
Oh,
for us. So
okay,
film
okay.
and so primarily film branded content and commercial right now.
Okay.
We have a TV series that's in development, so that's definitely something as well. But we've also cast and done a bunch of development for TV, like individually and collectively
Yeah.
over the past how many ever years. But definitely right now, film is a heavy concentration. We have 3 films in development, one short, which is a proof of concept for the
Okay.
feature, and then another feature as well. So
Woo.
we're working on
You is
that,
booked
and
and busy, child.
we're trying, I'm trying to get these things out here. They mean a lot to me personally, and like they have a meaning behind them, which I'm hoping will continue conversations and, like I said, land those partnerships too, so we can really have them be seen at the capacity I think they should be seen at to help
Yeah.
people. So yeah, that's where we are, and then branded content and commercial. So yeah,
And
yeah.
so I always wanted to kind of oh my God, like there's so many questions that I could say, but I know we have to wrap up. So this will be my last question.
Okay.
Branding and content. Not a lot of people know much about it. Hell, I just got into just knowing the crisp of it. This like end of 2023, this
Yeah.
2024, because what we
Mhm.
got in store,
Yeah.
I'll tell you. But branding and content, and I know that that's something that like most independent like freelancers don't know that they
Hmm.
can get into it as well.
Yeah.
And so tell us at least like someone that like may have the skill sets that you probably would match to, but don't know how to get into it. What would
Mhm.
be some tips on like how to kind of maybe zhuzh up a resume or something to get into the folder, get into that world?
Yeah. So it's really marketing. It's like the marketing world. It's not the film world. So even though it's very similar, it's always so like interesting dealing with marketing people because, and I come from a marketing background as well. So,
Yeah.
but it's always funny dealing with like agencies and everything because they think it's so different. They're like, oh, we don't want film people. It has to be a content producer. It's like it's the same thing. It's not different, but they don't know that.
Yeah.
So if you are trying to like, potentially find more steady work in the branded content realm as a content producer or content strategist or content or video producer, they like to call it in the marketing world, which is a cinematographer or a DP, a DP who can edit. That's exactly the same thing. Just make your words in your resume to be that way. So just say video producer, but you have, you're a director of photography, on XYZ commercials. Like make sure you're like putting everything on there, YouTube videos, social videos, things like that, so they can really see that. Yes, facts. I'm a brand producer. Yeah, so
Yeah.
yeah, so it's like, so if you want to get into that world, you just have to kind of tweak the words a little bit so they understand in their minds that it's not, like I said, it's not different.
What that is, right?
Right. Like I was just even telling someone the other day, like influencer marketing managers. I'm like, those are casting directors and talent agents. Like they are the original influencer marketing managers.
I
Why?
mean,
Because
don't
their whole
say, but that is true.
it's copied and pasted from what a casting director and talent agent does, literally word for word. And they know more about it because they've been doing it longer, like negotiating contracts, dealing with non-union and union, which they have to know like the back of their hand, sourcing talent, real people, people off the street, whether it's a celebrity up and comer or a real person, a doctor, whatever they have to find for that project. They've been doing it, It's no different than finding an influencer on Instagram or TikTok. So I was just talking to someone. I was on a rant with someone about that in a networking event this past week. But the marketing world they don't get that just yet. So just you got to change the words up a little bit for the resume if you want to get more into that realm with marketing agencies. Just say what they want to hear. Say like you are an influencer marketing manager, even though you've cast for TV, film, reality shows, commercials. Just kind of tweak those words a little bit so in their head they're like, oh, okay, yeah, they've done this.
Yeah. And I think
They don't
that
know what a
agree too. Like if you have the skills, especially dealing with a lot of talent that is heavily in Instagram or the content
yes,
creating world, putting those as highlights, like, oh, I've dealt with
yeah,
talent that's heavily in the content creator world of Instagram,
yes,
TikTok, whoever you have to contact with heavily, then
yeah,
it can maybe help zhuzh up or give you a more potential than someone
yeah,
that, just throws in their resume and doesn't really zhuzh it up or doesn't give it any vision.
yeah, absolutely. No, for sure, like
Absolutely.
100%.
And so,
Yeah.
what would be your last takeaway or last given words of wisdom, affirmation to our audience and to our world of creators?
Yes. Oh man. First off, I think the first word that came to my mind for my own self too is like to breathe. I feel like so many people are stressed out right now because of so many things that have been happening. All of these corporations and freeze hires and layoffs and XYZ. The strike is still, hitting people really, really hard right now. Some people are working, a lot of people aren't. And I think everyone is just collectively kind of like burning out a little bit here and there. So to breathe would be my first thing to say. Honestly, take care of yourself as a creative, as a human. Just make sure, you're checking in with yourself. I've gotten back to my prayer meditation time every morning just because I'm like, no matter how much work, I got to do, it's like I got to start with that. Like, even if it's just 15 minutes, let me just center myself, like let me just know in my spirit, it's gonna be okay. May not look okay right now, but it's gonna be okay, and it's just
Listen,
like okay.
because at the end of the day, it's gonna get done. The night, the moon is gonna rise, the sun's gonna
Yeah,
rise, the moon going to come.
yes,
It's gonna
yeah,
send everything. So you're gonna have another day to do whatever you need
yes,
to do.
absolutely. So it also just helps you with clarity. I think nothing good comes from being crazed and bogged down and all of that stuff. So it's like you have to be clear. So that definitely helps, for sure. And how find some ways to create with people. I've had a lot of people, specifically like wonderful DPs, talented people reaching out to me lately who are like, hey, I love what you're doing. Can we just create something? Like let's just do something to help each other right now, because like like I said, a lot of people are still not working right now. So find those opportunities, like if there's people who are like, hey, I want to bring my Red X camera, like let's rent a studio together and shoot something for free, for us, for our portfolio, and just to work and be around good people. Do it, find those outlets and opportunities. Because like I'm about to start doing that with a couple, like I said, these awesome DP editors reached out to me who are amazing, and they're like, let's just do something. I'm like, sure.
I mean, like you said, like we're going through so much, and the biggest thing is that we have time now.
Yeah.
Like, and not to say, like, because I would even say for myself, like I've had done some cooking of my own stuff that we got going, but we now have the time to collaborate, because I feel like all of us was in the groove of trying to get by, and now we can't just jump from job to job, to gig to gig to gig. So now it's like, okay, well, what are we doing in this downtime? And exactly. I am seeing it, like you said, like I am seeing some people are taking the time and doing what they need to do and hustle and bustle and getting things they need to get done. But I am seeing some people who are unfortunately not, understanding the shift and the pivot. And it really makes and breaks people, because it really is hard to make an investment in what you love to do. As creatives, like it is hard to make that into an investment. And even I think just from, again, the last time we had with CJ in our IG live talk, like being a creative, you're gonna be broke. There's gonna be some highs and there's gonna be some lows, but there's not gonna be the lows is lowing, okay? And right now the low is lowing, and I honestly think, unfortunately, with the low, you just gotta keep your mind like focused. And the ways of how to focus and different ways to focus is what will keep you strong from, compared to the other people too. And then there's other things too, where I think, and the question for you is, have you had instances where there was intimidation and competition? Where it's like competition and the FOMO and the, like, all those things. Have you had those experiences, and how have you been able to fight and combat that?
I don't pay attention to anyone who's trying, like I personally, I don't pay attention or think there's competition, like at all. I know from being a working person for over 15 years that like there are so many brands, there are so many people, there are so many different people that are going to connect with you and not connect with the next person who tries to pitch them. It's like, it just really, there's just so much out here. And you have to focus on yourself. You have to focus on, like I said, your why, your clarity, to move forward. Because if you do focus on people you think are the competition, that's gonna be an easy way for you to get off track, to get stressed, especially if you see them doing more or something. It's like what they're called to do is not what you're called to do. Like a lot of people, like I said, are not doing what our production company does. Like we're specifically like creating things to make strategic partnerships to change like bills in Congress and to enact change in communities with mental health and survivors of assault and stuff. Like we're a very niche specific company trying to utilize our skill sets as storytellers to help in regards to the nonprofit world, in regards to our world in general. And I know that's unique to us, not that people who are creating and storytelling are not trying to create for a greater good, but it could be looking a different way. They're not partnering with a nonprofit to like help that, to do whatever. So it's like, either way, everyone's doing their own thing. Everyone has their own calling and their own why. And you have to remember that and not be caught up in like, oh, I need to compete with this person or they're doing the same thing I'm trying to do. And, it's just, that's a surefire way to burn out quick, I think. And just to be insecure, as well. And to not, walk out what you need to be walking out for your own life.
Yeah.
I think we block our blessings by competing and comparing with one another. And that's another thing I would love to make a dent in, hopefully, coming up in the new year through our company, showing people you can collaborate and everyone can be successful and lucrative, because we helped one another, and we taught one another. So, yeah, I think that's important.
Powerful words. Well, thank you so much for just
You're
coming in and being a
welcome.
wonderful special guest. I told y'all that this Black History Month IG Live Talk kickoff was going to be amazing guests, and definitely have been an honor. So for our guests,
Yeah.
where can we follow you and follow your content and
Yes.
see anything for the future of you and your company, Visionary Women Productions?
Yes. First off, I saw Shannon's question.
Yes.
It goes right in. Yeah, it goes right into like what I'll say. So it's perfect. So if you do want to stay connected with me, but also you are an actor that wants to get future casting notices and such from me, please go to visionarywomanproductions.com. You can scroll down to the bottom and put your email in, click subscribe, and you will instantly be on our newsletter for castings and for just fun industry stuff, tips and tricks and things that'll be coming out. And yeah, fun little announcements that are coming up too, which I'm super excited about. So do that. And then, I think a lot of you I saw followed me already on my personal page, which is wonderful. Ashley Lauren Official. Thank you.
Yeah.
I look forward to connecting with you. And yeah, you can also see Visionary Women Productions in my bio and go on over to our IG page that way too. But yeah, I'm always free in the DMs. They get a little crazy sometimes, so it may take a minute to get back, but I always try to get back to everybody. And email too. Email's great. My personal email is visionarywomanproductions@gmail.com. Our business email for any business inquiries is hello@visionarywomanproductions.com.
Oh my gosh. Yes. This has been a wonderful chat. And like I said, if you missed this conversation with me and my special guest, Ashley, I don't know what it is, but you can get the whole full video. We will have our little recap video that we get a little special at the top of next week, but the full video we'll be able to kind of capture as soon as we finish off here. But thank you so much for giving us your gems, your tips, your story, and hopefully with the future and the more accolades that you have with your company, we can be able to support and collaborate. Because like we said, the biggest thing and the biggest power of our magic with content, okay? They love our content. It's what we make everything great and make the money. But I think the biggest thing is collaborating, and not only collaborating and saying, hey, let's do the content, but pouring into us, teaching the skills of what we learn that we don't know from others and vice versa. So definitely, I'm so excited for what we have ahead for the next couple of IG Live Talks. Our last one will have February the 21st. I know it's a little bit longer than that, but that's because we have other things cooking up as well. So definitely stay tuned for that. But it's been a joy to have you. Definitely we'll be tapping in. Hopefully we can be able to support your stuff in the future and for all the things as well.
Awesome. Thank you so much. I really appreciate it. This has been amazing. Yeah, I'm excited to collaborate and have some fun in the future. Yes, for sure.
Hopefully with this weather in California to be different, we can be able to do that and change that, especially in the summer. Because I do have some good things that we have cooking up, so I would love to collaborate with you all for your future endeavors. But yes, so before anything, I will go ahead and like I said, we have some other events coming up, so I will be announcing that when we drop off. But without further ado, QOP, as we love and giving the education and the skill sets to our people, supporting you in your journey, and as we love to always say, live, love, create. Bye, y'all. And have a good rest of your weekend, Ashley, because I know it's going to be a key.
Thank you, girl. You too.
Bye.
Bye.